Hare Krishna, dear devotees, my humble obeisances to you all glories to Srila Prabhupada. I welcome you all to His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj's daily class. Thank you all for joining. Today we are going to continue the series of Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 13th chapter, verse number 31. Hare Krishna Maharaj, my humble obeisances all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for your time and association. You can please take over, Maharaj. Thank you.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. My obeisance to all the devotees. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Ajata Shantru Pitam Maitruhutavnir. Vipram Navakira Gobhumi Rupmai. Viham Pavisto Guru Vandanaya. Nachapya Shakti Taro Saubalincha. Translation: Maharaj Yudhisthira, whose enemy was never born, performed his daily morning duties by praying, offering fire sacrifices to the sun god, and offering obeisances, grains, cows, land, and gold to the Brahmins. He then entered the palace to pay respects to the elderly. However, he could not find his uncles or aunt, the daughter of King Subala. Purport. Maharaj Yudhishthira was the most pious king because he personally practiced daily the pious duty of the householders. The householders are required to rise early in the morning, and after bathing, they should offer respects to the deities at home by prayers, by offering fuel in the sacred fire, by giving brahmanas and charity to the brahmanas, land, cow, grains, gold, etc. And at last, offering the elderly members due respect and obeisances. One who is not prepared to practice injunctions prescribed in the Shastras cannot be a good man simply by book knowledge. Modern householders are practiced to different modes of life, namely to rise late and then take bed tea without any sort of cleanliness, without any purificating practice, as mentioned above. The household children are taken to practice what the parents practice, and therefore the whole generation glides down towards hell. Nothing good can be expected from them unless they associate with sadhu. Like Dhritarashtra, the materialistic person may take lessons from a sadhu like Vidura, and thus be cleansed of the effects of modern life. Maharaj Yudhishthira, however, could not find in the palace his two uncles, namely Dhritarashtra and Vidura, along with Gandhari, the daughter of the king Subala. He was anxious to see them and therefore asked Sanjaya, the private secretary of Dhritarashtra, Om Gyantimirandasya Gyanajana Salakaya Chaksu Unnaritam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Ma Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Pastyatya Desatarine Vanshakalpa Tarubhischa Pipa Sindhu Bevacha Vidana Nejo Vaishnavyo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here we're getting a little insight in how a Vaishnava householder devotee practices. Whether you're living at home or in the temple, it doesn't mean that because you live at home, you don't have to be a particular protocol for spiritual practice. It's highly recommended, and it's a requirement, that as long as we live as a devotee, either in the temple or outside of the temple, according to one's situation, one has to have a morning program. And that morning program may consist of various activities in relationship to worship, to prayer, to Shastra edification. In other words, it's not that because we live outside and we have family and we have a job, we wake up at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, run, take a shower, eat breakfast real quick, and run to the office. This is not Krishna consciousness, devotional life. Therefore, it's mentioned here, you'll see Maharaj Yudhishthira, he was a pious person. He had the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead personally. But still, he's following all of the rules and regulations of a dutiful householder. And one of the main duties is to give charity. And the Shastras enjoin, or actually caution, that in every age, each of the ashrams will fall short of one of their most main activities, because ashram means place of spiritual cultivation. And so if you're living singly, it's called brahmachari life, and then there's rules, there's regulations, there's requirements. there's also ashram activities. If you're living outside with family and occupation, there also are sets of rules and regulations that must be followed. Otherwise, especially for the householders, because they're always in contact with the material energy directly, it's easy for them to somehow or other become, again, what we say, connected to the material energy and start to value material energy and the activities of material life as superior and more important to the activities of spiritual life. And we see that happens all the time, and especially in Kali Yuga. Whereas in Kali Yuga, people are not so inclined to spiritual life, and to make them inclined, it's not easy. Therefore, training is mentioned. Simply by coming in contact with a pure devotee spiritual master and engaging in devotion and hearing from them is not enough. One has to practice a routine schedule at home with family or with friends, relatives, every morning. And we emphasize the morning, as the morning is called the Brahma Muhurta hour. It's the most ideal time for spiritual practice. And so householders have to adjust their schedule to allow themselves quality time in the morning. One of my disciples was telling me, because she has to go to work, she just got this job. She's finding that she was chanting her rounds and she was worshiping her deity regularly before she would go on with her daily duties. But now after getting this particular employment, she's found that those spiritual activities in the morning were too much, and she couldn't, or she wanted to stop doing the deity worship. And I said, no. I said, especially for Grihastha, deity worship is not only necessary, it's essential in order to keep one's mind focused on Krishna and become purified through the practice of devotional service. And this is mentioned by Prahlad Maharaj in the fifth canto, seventh canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, fifth chapter. And it describes that in that section, the discussion is that householders are required to worship the deity, either in the temple or at home. Otherwise, they will fall down in their Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada says they're falling down is guaranteed. He doesn't make it, he doesn't say they could fall down. He said they will fall down. They don't do regular deity worship. Because they're always in contact with the external energy. And therefore, they require that spiritual substance to purify their consciousness and allow them to worship the Lord directly through the deities. And so one should make a schedule. So when I gave that instruction to my disciple, one of my disciples, she wasn't so happy with it, but at the same time, she tried to do it. And when she did, she found out there was a way to do both and allow for the deity worship to go on and her job also. So when something comes up that seems to interfere with our spirit or with our life, it makes our life more cumbersome. And we always look to cut our spiritual practices. But this is, rather than trying to adjust things in such a way that we not only don't cut our spiritual practices, but we find ways to increase the quality and activity of our spiritual life. Otherwise, if we become a good materialist and have a good success in our material life, then we get a chance to take birth again in another situation and again do the same thing again. In other words, birth after birth, we are, doing the same thing. We have a family. The family members are different but the same activities go on: eating, sleeping, mating, and maintaining the family in different ways. So that is not the purpose of life. The animals are doing the same thing, and they cannot become self-realized, but they're good in those four activities. So to become expert at eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, this qualifies us for another birth in the material world. So here we're seeing Maharaj Yudhisthira. He's taking his early bath. He is doing fire sacrifices. He's giving in charity to land, cows, grain, gold to the brahmanas, respecting elderlies, and he's preparing to. He's following carefully the injunctions of the Shastras. Right. So that will make one Krishna conscious, because there's no disqualification for any type of life as long as we put a foundation in our practice of whatever we're doing in life early in the morning with good sadhana. Good sadhana means good consciousness, both during the time and throughout the day. And then we won't be overwhelmed or bewildered by the not the opportunities, but by the whatever Maya presents to us in the form of our day-to-day activities. Prabhupada said, Maya is as strong as you are weak. So our strength comes from sadhana, hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. And one should rise early. And sometimes we have to, sacrifice some of those evening programs so we can get up within the due course of time. But that is good. I know some devotees who live in household life. They have a lot of responsibilities, both with family and with spiritual activities, but they always have time for sadhana. They'll make it, sadhana becomes their business. I know one devotee, he also has a lot of early morning activities outside. He preaches. So he'll listen, he'll do Mangal Arti at home. He'll do Tulsi Arti, chant his japa, and then he'll worship Srila Prabhupada. And then he'll listen to a Srimad Bhagavatam class by Prabhupada. So all of this is part, and it's not just for the new people. You'll see even those who are fixed in Krishna consciousness, they become more and more inclined to early morning spiritual practices because it's like a refresher. It inspires the soul, wakes up the mind, and purifies one's whole life, and it fortifies one's intelligence and one's ability as we go on throughout the day. So sadhana is really very important. It's the foundation for everything. And you can't do too much sadhana. Of course, we have to be practical, but at the same time, we should have enough time to chant our rounds and worship the deity at least in the morning. And either hear or read Srimad Bhagavatam. All of these. And Srila Prabhupada also said he wanted that in each and every home throughout the world, that people would worship the Lord in their own home, following the prescribed program that is authorized. And chanting, dancing, offering prasadam, accepting prasadam, giving in charity. Here it's mentioned giving in charity. It mentions that in this age of Kali, the householders are not inclined to give in charity. They have too many responsibilities economically, and they're always trying to get more money to fulfill their material needs and requirements. They're not inclined to give in charity. So, but therefore it says that this is the feature of Kali Yuga. But giving in charity really is one of the main principles of Grihastha life. And it helps one to become aware that everything in this world is actually the property of the Supreme Lord. Manaso, Deho, Geho, Yo Kichumor, Arpilun tu Albade, Nanda Kishore. Nanda Kishore Krishna Bhakti Vinod Thakur is sincerely praying to the Lord And he says, my home, my wife, my possessions, my very body, it's yours. It belongs to you. I'm using it, but that doesn't mean it's mine. Just like we're renting an apartment. Just because we rent an apartment doesn't mean the apartment is ours. It still belongs to the landlord, although we're using it. The landlord may give us free rein on how we want to live there, and that's fine. But at the same time, it's still not ours. So whatever we have is coming by the grace of the Lord. Whatever we are is facilitated by the Lord's mercy. And he explains that in different ways throughout the scriptures. And ultimately, he is the foundation for everything. So whatever we use in the service of the Lord is just returning whatever Krishna has given us back. And therefore, when giving in charity, one should give liberally in charity to Krishna conscious programs around the world, supporting devotees, supporting projects, supporting the temple constructions, various types of programs. And by doing that, that's the best use of one's finances. And then those finances become opportunities for elevation towards the destination of going back to that home. Here we find that Yudhisthira, Dhritarashtra, Vidura, and Gandhari, they all left. Dhritarashtra woke up by the sharp words of Vidura. He actually developed renunciation along with his good wife Gandhari, who was one of the most chaste ladies within the history of Vedic culture. And Vidura accompanied his brother and his wife, and they went to a holy place where the Dhritarashtra will start to perform, along with his wife Gandhari, strict penances and austerities. And so now Yudhisthira is wondering, where are they? And you'll find as these verses come up, it becomes really interesting how how Yudhisthira responds to the disappearance of his uncle, Dhritarashtra. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for the class, Maharaj. Dear devotees, any questions or comments or realizations, you can please raise your hand or type in the chat window. Please turn on your cameras if possible. Hare Krishna. Yeah, Silpesh Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances of voice Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, I'm sick with a virus and really struggling to do my rounds because I just don't have the energy. So what do we do in those kind of circumstances?
Well, you can clear your mind.
Sorry?
If you find you have no energy for chanting, you can chant in the mind. Or you can put the holy name in front of you and read the words. Like yesterday was Ekadasi. And so when I ate really very little and was very active the whole day. And when I got up this morning, I was really tired, physically weak. I couldn't do anything. And then my rounds were in front of me, and then I realized that it's going to be a little more difficult for me to chant today because the energy is not there. So I was thinking, Krishna, what is the best way? Then I remember just chant slowly and carefully. So I did that for a couple rounds, just very methodically, just chanting. But as I started to chant that way and at the same time listen, the holy names seemed to present some extra special mercy. And then I started feeling more energetic. And then it became easier. So sometimes when we feel a lack of energy, we can chant in the mind or we can chant very, very slowly. and clearly and hear nicely. May take longer, but that doesn't matter. What matters is that we're chanting and we're hearing nicely. So we can make adjustments, but don't give up the practice. Because the holy name will actually open you up to the mercy of the Lord in different ways. And if you're chanting the holy name, you'll be in a position to overcome all of your challenges in life, simply by the grace of the holy name. And of course, it purifies the consciousness, it awakens our attraction to Krishna. So, yeah, so keep chanting. Chant in the mind if it works. Chant slowly, externally, hearing nicely. Break up your rounds. If you find it's too hard to chant 16 rounds in one go, then you can chant a few rounds. Prabhupada used to follow this program when he was a householder with children. Prabhupada had 5 children. And he also was a very important position in a chemical firm in India, in Bengal. So he had a lot of responsibility. So he wasn't able to chant, straight. So he said, when I woke up, I chanted 4 rounds. Just before lunch, I chanted 4 more. Just before evening meal, I chanted 4 more. And just before taking rest, I chanted my last 4. So if we have the desire, Krishna will give you the intelligence. So these are some suggestions which you can apply. Don't give up the chanting. And it's like giving up chanting is like giving up breathing. It's the same thing.
Thank you, Maharaj. Yes, I
Spiritual nourishment.
Devi Mataji.
Thank you. Dear Guru Maharaj, my humble obeisances, all glories to Prabhupada. Maharaj, on the subject of chanting, sometimes when I chant for a long time, my initial rounds I'm able to say very clearly, but after some time my voice just gives out, and I find I'm nowadays whispering the holy name rather than saying the holy name, and sometimes I'm just chanting silently. So I don't know whether this is a good way to chant, or I should split it up into a time where I can actually say the holy name rather than be tired and chant.
Yeah. Yeah, what is the use of, just pushing yourself? I do that sometimes, I push myself. Take a drink of water, do a little bit of exercise, loosen up a little bit. Maybe take a little medicine if you have some in the morning, and then jump back into it, get a little revitalization. Practical.
It's not that I'm tired, it's just that my voice gives out after some time.
That means you're tired.
Sorry?
If that means you're tired,
Oh,
your body energy is becoming less. It's not that you're mentally tired, you might be still mentally alert, but your energy level has dropped.
So it's always better to actually say the holy name and not compromise on the sound that is coming out from one's throat.
What is this idea of compromise?
Well, sometimes we hear that you can say softly or you can chant silently.
The rule for chanting is to hear. If you're hearing, that's fine.
One must hear the sound vibration. Yes, Guru Maharaj. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, any more questions? So, Maharaj, I was thinking like, I usually follow chanting in intervals, like few rounds and later few rounds. But sometimes I feel bad when I keep my rounds pending until late in the night. So I feel that I'm giving importance to all other things rather than to chanting. So what do you suggest? So it's better to chant your rounds in the morning, daytime itself, or keep it until the late night or night after dinner, like that?
Whatever works.
Yeah.
You have to see what is best for hearing and chanting. There's one verse that says there's no hard and fast rules for chanting the holy names.
Mm.
The only rule is hearing. You have to hear.
Yes, Maharaj.
Clearly. Not just superfluously or slightly. You have to hear clearly.
Mm.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. If you're not hearing, then it's japa meditation.
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah. Namrata, Mataji, Sridevi Mataji, I'll take Namrata Mataji first. Namrata Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
I'm listening, go ahead.
Material life many times take a lot of energy from us. So how do we preserve our energy for spiritual activities? Because we may try to balance, but we tend to compromise a lot of our energy, which should be used in spiritual life rather than material life.
Well, your energy is proportioned, and you can feel that if you're putting too much time in maintaining the body and family members, then cut down on it. This is a practical question. If it's energy you need, get energy. If you don't have it, then adjust. Energy comes from Krishna. I'm just taking one of my energy drinks right now. So you can do that too.
This is a powerful statement, Maharaj. Energy comes from Krishna.
It is. And energy actually comes from the soul, to be very specific. Food nourishes the body. It also gives energy, but the soul is the energy source in the body. If you're chanting your rounds nicely and you're hearing nicely, you're getting energy.
Yes, Maharaj.
If you're not hearing nicely, you may not connect with that sound, and therefore the energy is less.
So Maharaj, just a little follow-up on this. Usually our spiritual practices, they usually like, they don't glow or go in, upward direction just straight away. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down.
Yeah,
So when
that means we haven't, we're still dealing with anarthas yet. Arthas will make our practice unsteady. As soon as you pass the anarthas, then you've reached the steady practice of devotional service. At least most of your anarthas. Not all of them. Anarthas will interfere with the steady execution of bhakti. So yeah, we have to be diligent to get rid of those anarthas. Lust,
thank you.
envy, fault finding, prajalpa, just wasting time in useless talk, saps a lot of energy.
Thank you, Maharaj. That quite well clarifies a lot of things. Hare
To
Krishna.
emphasize Krishna consciousness, then Krishna consciousness will push you along. It'll give you both intelligence and discrimination on how to live to practice your life, both materially and spiritually. Krishna is everything. Is the foundation for all activities, both material and spiritual. More for a devotee, he's always trying to encourage the devotee to take shelter of spiritual activities. And so, therefore, the principle is that we have to minimize, or what we say, what's the word? Streamline our material activities where we just spend enough time just to get what's necessary done and not more. Therefore, the principle of simplicity allows one to practice devotional service more effectively. We become too much involved with material activities, then you have to see what is too much. And you know, the question, the principle is, am I happy in my execution of devotional service? Am I satisfied? If you're feeling satisfied and happy, then that means you're in the right mood, the right path. If you're not, that means there's something there that you need to adjust or remove from your life. Or add on, either one. Am I satisfied in my Krishna consciousness? Am I looking forward to associating with devotees? Am I looking forward to chant my rounds? Am I looking forward to do my services? Am I eager? If you're not feeling this eagerness, enthusiasm for your devotional service, then you have to see, well, what is it that's there that shouldn't be there? What is not there that should be there? And then you might try to analyze and understand. Maybe I'm sleeping too much. Maybe I'm eating too much. Maybe I'm not using my time properly. Maybe I'm not getting enough devotee association. You have to see, what is it that will increase the quality of our bhakti?
So Guru Maharaj, as you said, whatever devotional service I do, I'm quite satisfied with that. But I have got one comment that I am going too fast in my devotional service. I need to balance a little more. So,
how do you evaluate whether you're going too fast or not? What is your reasoning?
No, somebody commented me that I'm going too fast in my spiritual activities.
Oh, what do they know? They're not you.
Yes, Guru Maharaj, I didn't get that.
What did they're not you? How can they say that?
Okay.
Spiritual activities are personal. They're evaluating based on material considerations, material evaluations. How do you know? How do they know? How can they be the authority for you?
So should I ignore Guru Maharaj?
If you're feeling happy with what you're doing, yes, 100% ignore it.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Hmm. And then it's like a person telling you, when you're eating, you know when you're full. No one has to tell you, well, you're full. You should eat more. You're not eating enough. You know, eating is a personal thing. No one can speak about your eating from the outside unless they're seeing something wrong in you. They can suggest things, but they can't understand you. Prabhupada would always use that. Just like when you're eating, you know how much you should eat and when you should stop, when you're satisfied.
So I'm really getting a good devotional service, a good devotional service as an art service. So I'm quite satisfied in that, Guru Maharaj.
So am I.
I'm doing for Radha Gopinath deities for Janmashtami. So I'm quite satisfied, Guru Maharaj.
In Chaupati?
Yes.
Nice, very nice. Yeah, they have a very spectacular Janmashtami there.
Yeah. I'm quite happy to be the part of that seva.
Nice.
It's by your mercy, so I'm really grateful to you.
Yeah, take advantage of it. Radha Gopinath is very merciful.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah, very nice opportunity, Mataji. Congratulations.
Can you see them?
No, Guru Maharaj. Can little down, little down, more, Guru Maharaj. Come down. And towards your left, Maharaj. Yeah. And a little more down. We can see only Radharani. Little bit left, Maharaj. Okay, this is the only picture. Oh, okay. Yeah, now we can see. Yeah, you have to put in little left. Yeah. Yes, Maharaj. Yeah. Radha Gopinath.
I'm painting for the Sakhis, Guru Maharaj. I'm painting the dresses of the Sakhis.
Nice. Alita Vishaka.
Yeah.
I did the installation on, I was there for the installation of those deities, and I was the one that was doing Vishaka.
I'm doing the Mangala dress, Guru Maharaj.
Oh, nice. And now they're going to recognize your spiritual Shakti, and then you're going to be stuck with all kinds of nice service.
By your mercy, Guru Maharaj.
Radharani is very personal there. She's very, very personal.
Yes. Actually, I was supposed to go for entire week, but my Prabhu said it's too hectic. You can't travel. So I was praying intensely to Radharani that please, Radharani, do something. I want to do this seva. So I did in the weekend, but then they asked me to carry something at home. to do the other part of the seva. So this week is entirely going to get, even at home, I'm going to do it. So I'm quite happy, Guru Maharaj.
Good, good, good. I think I'll be going there sometime in October.
We'll see you soon in the October.
Yeah, if Krishna allows me, that's my plan.
Sure, looking forward, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji, for sharing that. Sridevi Mataji, please go ahead.
Dear Guru Maharaj, this question of householders chanting, rising early in the morning, chanting their rounds, making a good start to the day. I was thinking about many young mothers with small children who have to pack their children's lunch boxes, send them to school, send husband to school, do so many things first thing in the morning. And their day begins, their chanting begins only at 10 o'clock after everybody is gone. And the house is quiet, and finally they have some time to themselves. That's when they begin chanting their rounds. So in their case, because they're taking care of family members and they have so many things going, early morning, children have to be bathed, they're, everything sent to so many preparations. Is that something to be changed, or that's acceptable?
Srimati can answer the question. She's been through.
It says, I'm multitasking always, Guru Maharaj.
She's been through it. She knows the answer more better than I do. You can't neglect your responsibilities. You have to adjust, that's all.
Yes, Maharaj. Mataji, is it okay? You're on mute, Mataji.
Yeah, so what I'm gathering is that it's still always a good idea to rise early and chant at least majority of the rounds first thing in the morning before you begin your day. And then maybe finish up the rest after all the chores are done. That's what I'm hearing from Guru Maharaj's answer.
Not exactly.
No?
That's one option. The other option is whatever works.
Okay.
It's like one of my disciples, she had a young child. Child requires the mother to leave 4 hours. So she had a hard time trying to do her rounds. So I gave her the simple formula, 4, 4, 4, 4. 4 times a day, you'd find a half hour to do 4 rounds. And she did it, and it worked. I didn't tell her what times of the day. I said, try that formula, and it worked. Krishna consciousness is practical.
Yes, Maharaj.
Read the scriptures, you'll find there's the devotees that are mentioned in the scriptures that are always struggling in some way or another to worship the Lord amidst so many other activities.
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Dear devotees, any more questions or comments? Maharaj, I have one small practical question. Like, I see some devotees in the temple, they chant with using the clicker, like without the beads.
That's, this clicker is what it is. Use your beads.
Yeah.
What's wrong with the beads in the bead bag? That's the way to do it. With the clicker, you're minimizing one of the senses, the sense of touch, which comes by using the beads. So when you're chanting, you're using the sound, hearing, speaking, and feeling.
Mm.
The feeling part is the beads, engaging three of those senses.
Maharaj, I heard in one lecture that if you see anything wrong or something, you need not correct them. Their mentors or their gurus will take care. You need not tell them anything. Is that the correct idea, Maharaj?
It's not an absolute thing. Sometimes you might say something, sometimes you may not.
Mm.
Depends on the person.
Mm.
If you think it'll make a difference, say something. If you don't say anything.
Mm.
See the situation. It says an intelligent person sees the results before the activity.
Mm.
I'm going to do this. What will be the results? Let me try to understand.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj. So there is a comment by Rajesh Prabhu on chat. He's saying, Hare Krishna, dear Maharaj and dear all, very nice class. Thank you for reminding me that without taking shelter in daily chanting and deity worship, scheduling from starting in the morning and making sure that we do this, adjusting when relevant, we will otherwise fall down. He's just thanking for the class. And
Spiritual like, Prabhupada said, it's like shaving with a razor, a little inattention, and there is cut. You have to give full attention to your spiritual life.
Mm. Maharaj, thank you. Kalakanti Mataji, you have a question? You're on mute, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Accept my humble obeisance. I have a question, like, even sometimes you get up early, but if you have early morning services and it still around get late, what's the suggestion about it?
About staying up late?
No. Even like sometimes you have early morning services and still around get late, to start. Because if you have to start like 5:30 for your services after Mangalarti, so how do you?
Yeah, you live in a temple, right? So you're living in the women's ashrams there. So it's really quite strict as far as getting up. I lived in an ashram for more than 20 years, I know. If you go to bed late, and then you get up late, and then your round time is shortened because you have to attend to the morning programs that's required. So try to avoid going to sleep late and get up enough time where you have enough time for your rounds. Then you have your japa period. Japa period is from 5:15 to 7, right? It's an hour and 45 minutes you have that.
What about if you have service like early, like you start like 5:30, 6 o'clock, then how do you do? You still get late?
Yeah, you do pujari service or cooking, right? Cooking.
Yeah, sometimes certain days.
Yeah, then you have to see where you plan on that, plan that ahead of time. That all right, I'm going to be busy this time. I have to put some time aside for my japa later on. If people want to talk to you or they want to meet with you, just say I don't have time. We have to put some time aside. so you can finish. That's the concern of pujaris, especially those who worship the deity. They have to be there early. And so make time later. That's all. Plan ahead of time.
Hope that helps, Mataji.
Thank you.
Thank you. Raj Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances for glories Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, I was reading this morning from Chaitanya Charitamrita, and verse was talking about we must take shelter of the Pach Tattva and their followers in order to be able to chant properly. What is your advice or recommendation for us to best take shelter of them?
Chant Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advait Gadadhar Sivasari Bhauda Bhakta Vrindam. Prabhupada said, we cannot approach Krishna unless we approach through the Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He said we should always chant the Panchatattva mantra before we chant the Hare Krishna mantra. He said when you chant the Panchatattva mantra, you cannot commit any offenses, but when you chant the Hare Krishna mantra, you can commit offenses. So to get the mercy of Mahaprabhu, call out to the mercy of Mahaprabhu and chant Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasari Gauda Bhakta Vrinda. Gauranga Mahaprabhu is our connection in the whole process of bhakti. And he is very merciful.
Maharaj, should we chant before each, the Panch Tattva mantra before each round, or just at the beginning?
There's two schools for that. It's understood that if you chant at the beginning, that's enough, but there's devotees that like to chant before each round. If they want to do that, that's fine. I just chant at the beginning. Because the idea is not to break up the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Once you start getting absorbed into it, you just keep going. But if you feel the need to rejuvenate, reboot, energize, jumpstart, Hare Krishna Jai, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Ki Jai, Mahaprabhu. Call out to Lord Chaitanya, praying for his mercy, begging for his mercy. It's nice. Be very kind. You can't lose in this process if you take shelter of Mahaprabhu.
I heard from a devotee that just recently visited Eka Chakra, and he said the devotees there advised to chant a full round of the Panch Tattva mantra, or a few full rounds of the Panch Tattva mantra before chanting Hare Krishna mantra.
Prabhupada didn't give us that, but I don't see anything wrong in it. If you want to do it, it's fine. Bhakti, is individual. You want to chant some more rounds, offer some prayers, that's fine. But make sure you're hearing and chanting the Maha Mantra properly. We don't want to get ritualistic or dogmatic that, we just say, well, this is the way it has to be done. The principles are there. You can keep the principles foremost, and adjust some of the details. That's all. Principle is hearing and chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Praying for the mercy of Mahaprabhu, you can do that anytime. Oh.
Thank you, Maharaj.
People get so dogmatic or so ritualistic in the practice of Krishna consciousness. It's like it becomes paralysis by analysis, you know. Can't function anymore. There's one grasshopper, he's dancing. He's actually a centipede. He's got 100 feet and he's dancing. No, he's dancing very nicely. Everybody's clapping. So one grasshopper says to the centipede, "Hey, I see you're dancing so nicely. When you do you move your 56th foot first, and then do you move your 74th foot after that, or is you use the 38th foot first after the 41st foot?" So and then the centipede is starting to analyze his dancing, and he can't dance anymore. Paralysis by analysis. So don't get over analytic. Whatever works. But the principle is to hear and chant. That's the function. Nicely.
Right, so is it more about doing whatever puts you into the right mood for chanting?
That's where prayers come in, yeah.
Mhm.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Raj Prabhu. Nice question. Any more questions or comments, dear devotees? Okay, Maharaj, we are past 1 hour, so I think there are no more
Yeah,
questions.
we can.
Sridevi Mataji, you have anything last minute?
Yeah, just one quick question. Guru Maharaj, what is the ideal? Should we keep trying to increase chanting our rounds? Or we should cap it at a certain point, saying I have to balance it with my
The same answer as I've been answering all your same questions. Why are you trying to formalize your bhakti? Just become a devotee, chant and dance and be happy. Why are you making a big ritual out of it? You got your pasteboard and you're putting down your numbers on the wall. Come on. Get off it. Bhakti is not like that. Bhakti is an expression of the heart. Why are we looking for some formalistic way to do something? The formal is chanting means to hear. Hear and chant with attention, with sincerity, with devotion. That's all. How many rounds? You want to do 180 rounds? Do 180 rounds. You want to do 16? Do 16.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
All this formalistic stuff.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Okay, so shall we end the call here? So, Maharaj, I don't have any updates still with Shyamagauri Mataji for Wednesday. I'll update you soon, Maharaj, today.
Yeah. So I'll be gone on Wednesday. Wednesday, I think they want me to do Balaram's appearance day, and it's Balaram's appearance day, right, in America?
Yes, yes.
And so, yeah, if I'm, like I mentioned earlier, I think I already said, if I get to my place in time and I can set up, I'll be there on Wednesday.
Okay.
It's just a matter of getting from the airport to to the temple and setting up in time. So,
Mm. Yes, Maharaj, I'll inform. Thank you so much for the class today and nice discussion.
Hari.
Tomorrow, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Oh, Premanande, Hari.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
See you guys tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I would suggest that devotees read the verse ahead of time for tomorrow and then formulate your questions based on reading the verses. So you're prepared for asking questions.
Yes, Maharaj.
Mm.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.